One of the things that you mentioned is your dad being an entrepreneur. So you've got this theme of richness of culture. So people are at the center of what you observe growing up. And then you've got this entrepreneurship thing. And then you've got this idea of hospitality and food, as kind of the pillars of what you just described. What were some of the things that started to click for you that was like, this could be a thing for me, this could be a part of my life?
Well, I never thought it would be part of my life. I just loved doing it.
Yeah.
And so the summer I did work for him as a tour guide. Basically, the way the day would go is that he was selling group tours, and he was selling to airline employees and their families. That was the niche. It's a group that gets incredible discounts on travel. As a matter of fact, back in those days, because of my dad's business, until I was 21, I was able to fly anywhere Pan Am flew for $44 round trip.
Wow.
So I went to Rome several times, even in my college years. I was taking a lot of Italian classes back at Trinity, because it was almost like, if you've ever snorkeled, you see there's a whole world, or if you've ever scuba dived, you see there's even a bigger world. Well, learning a new language for me gave me the opportunity to discover a whole different world. But I think what was happening as a tour guide, I would start my day often by going to the airport in Rome, Fiumicino, very, very early, knowing which group I was going to be picking up at the airport. I was the guy that everybody had a red tag on their suitcase, and so I would hold up the sign and collect all these cranky people who had just been flying all night and didn't know each other. Maybe there would be a husband and wife. Of course, I was always rooting for there to be more flight attendants and fewer baggage handlers on the trip, because I'd be with these people for the next handful of days, and I would take them on a bus back to the hotel. And I'd get on the microphone on the bus. I was the guy in the front of the bus explaining the trip that was about to happen, telling them about how not to carry their pocketbook on the side, where a bicyclist or a motorcyclist could pick it off from them. And what was happening, and what I found I was really, really adept at and didn't even know it, was I could read people's signs. I could see who needed to feel the most important. I could see who needed to be turned around, who was the most skeptical. I could read almost every single person. And I just had this innate desire and ability to figure out who was the hardest to please person on day one. And by the time we got to day 4 or 5, I was hell-bent on making them the happiest. And it wasn't just because they tipped, and they did tip. I love that.
Yeah.
I loved earning those tips, but I just figured out that I was really good at letting people be seen and feel heard, and giving them what they needed to feel great. I also...
That's the peacemaker in you.
It was. I think that was based on a lot of the stuff I'd grown up doing as a kid in St. Louis. But there was this other part of it, which is that I was using trattorias in Rome as part of the bargain about how I was going to make people happy.
Okay.
So whereas the tour that they had signed up for might have said, today you're going to go to a cameo factory, which is what, that's a gimmick that tours do, as if it's not a cultural thing to go to a cameo factory.
Yeah.
It's just like the tour guide gets a kickback from the cameo company for a cameo they sell. And I didn't want to do that. And I didn't think, I thought I had a better plan, which is I'm going to take them to restaurants. And I started to discover these family-run trattorias that would actually pay me 1,000 lira for every person I brought in. And I was making money, making these people so much happier than if they had, done all the stuff that the tour said to do. I almost got in trouble.
It's a win-win.
It was a win for me, but we were going off script to do it. But I was using food as part of the means to make people feel better.
Yeah.
And it was working. And so again, I wasn't at all thinking at the age of 20 that this could possibly be a career.